Alright, then that was followed in 1967 by Deliver, or The Mamas and the Papas Deliver, but I just call it Deliver. This is a good album. I think it mostly consists of covers, but it's a good album. This has Dedicated to the One I Love, which was a hit for them. One of the few songs that Michelle gets to sing lead vocals on, or for the first half of this, that first part of the song, that's her singing. So, cover of My Girl, which is okay. It's good. Creek Alley, which I mentioned before, which is an autobiographical account of how they all met. And and they would always be asked, how did you guys meet? Okay, well, we're going to put it in the song. So, Creek Alley's one of their best. They did another Rodgers and Hart song, Sing for Your Supper, which is wonderful. Cass sounds wonderful in that song. Look Through My Window, Boys and Girls Together, String Man, Frustration is a instrumental, which you really don't get with Moms and the Papas albums here. Did You Ever Want to Cry? Is that a great opening guitar lick? John's Music Box is sort of 1 minute filler, but yeah, it's good. It's a good album. Alright, that was followed by an album called The Papas and the Mamas, which was released in 1968. And by the time it was released, I think it was already established that the band were done. After 3 years, from 1965 to 1968, they were done. So this is the album that came out of that. And this album was recorded. The interesting history about this album. I read a book called Go Where You Want to Go, The Oral History of the Mamas and Papas. Good book. I see on Amazon that it doesn't have too many good reviews. I liked it. One of the things I found interesting about this album is that it was recorded in a home studio that John Phillips had made. And at that time, I don't think it was legal to have a home studio. I don't know. I don't know the whole full details of that, but this one's an experimental one. With the big 1960s and late 80s, After the Summer of Love, and this one's really experimental. And I should mention about this album with the record sleeve, which you cannot do with the CD, is that it's got this. The changing faces here. Whoops, that didn't work. Good fun there. These songs are not in order on the back. I forgot about that. So I'll look at the vinyl here. I think of the first four, this is the weaker one, but there's some really good songs on here. The Write Somebody to Love by Shirley Temple is really weird, just to open up the album. I think it's Michelle singing it, but it lasts for 34 seconds. Saving My Garden's good, Meditation Mama, For the Love of Ivy, Dream a Little Dream of Me, which was a hit not for the group, but for Cass, because when it was released as a single, it was released as a Mama Cass Elliot single. So that's not good. For the group. Mansions, some of these songs I have a hard time remembering. Gemini Child is just wonderful. It's probably their heaviest song. It's got this Hendrix guitar riff. It's like the closest they'll ever get to hard rock. If you want to hear the hard rock Mamas and the Papas song, listen to Gemini Child. Nothing's Too Good for My Little Girl. Too Late, I can't even remember some of these songs. 12:30, Young Girls Are Coming to the Canyon was one of their hits there. Rooms, again, I can't remember. And then it ends with Midnight Voyage, which great way to end the album. And of course, my favorite part is I don't know why they left it in there with John sort of telling them, no, let's try this again. And then that last, when they're all singing a cappella, just sounds glorious, glorious. This is not a bad album. Not a bad album. It's very experimental, but it's good. It's Good. The group splitting up in 1968. That was it. They were not gonna. They all went off and did their own things. Solo careers for Michelle. It was an acting career. She found more success with. But then Dunhill, I think that's who the people. Yeah, Dunhill, ABC Records. There was a problem though. When the Mamas and Papas signed their record contract or for the record deal, they had signed on to make 5 albums. They had made 4. And by this time, sometime in the 1970s, the group was no longer together, nor did they have any plans to get together. But they were threatened to pay somewhere in the amount of somewhere well over $100,000. So they had 2 choices. One, make the album and fulfill the contract, or 2, pay $100,000, more than $100,000. So they went with the first one because I don't think they wanted to give up any of their money. So, come 1971, they made another album, the forced reunion album, People Like Us. Yeah, of the 5 albums they made, this is the weakest, and it's easily the weakest of the bunch because there was really no effort put into it. I don't think. I think Michelle Phillips said it best in that that this album is not very happy. That it just sounds like 4 people who want to get out of their record contract. Yeah, sounds about right. And there's not a lot written about the recording of this album. I mean, it was really weird because at that point, John and Michelle had already been divorced for a couple years, and it was just really weird in the recording of that. And most of their vocals were recorded by themselves. I mean, they weren't all in the studio at the same time. I don't think ever. Maybe once or twice, but they just really were doing this so they didn't have to pay their $100,000. And I don't think Cass was really not on the song. I mean, usually she has a song where she sings lead vocals on throughout the entire, where she's the only singer in the song. And given how big her solo career was after the group had split, I mean, now they're making this album. I mean, she's off doing other things, so they would all have to record their stuff separately. So John was not in the studio that much, so you're left with Michelle and Denny. Yeah, it's not a very good album overall, but there are some pretty good songs. I listened to this about a couple years ago for the first time in a while, and it's not as bad as I remembered. Man, I'm looking at the song titles here, and I cannot remember most of them here. I don't think these songs are in the correct order on the sleeve. I think it's the same case with that other one, Papas and Mamas. Yeah, I have a really hard time remembering any of these songs. I mean, the first song's okay, which is the title track. I'm really struggling here to remember any of these songs. European Blue Boy is pretty good. There is a tribute song to Janis Joplin called Pearl. Michelle writes her own song here, I Want to Be a Star, which is okay. I will say the best song on here, in my opinion, is either the Janis Joplin song Pearl or the last one, Blueberries for Breakfast. That's a great song. And that was all their albums. There was no more Mamas and the Papas. And they all went on their solo careers. Cass continued with her solo career until she died, unfortunately, in 1974. Obviously, there's I think one of the most popular urban legends or rock and roll myths out there, that Cass Elliot died choking on a ham sandwich. I think that was like the initial report. No, she didn't. It was a heart attack. And I have a book right up there, the Encyclopedia of Dead Rock Stars. In there, I mean, she was really not in good health. apparently she was trying something really weird and like having a meal a week. I guess she was trying to lose weight. I mean, that's not safe. I mean, if you're having food once a week, that's not good. The Moms and the Papas did get back together sometime in the early 1980s, but it wasn't with John, Denny, and Michelle. It was actually just John, Denny, and they got some other people. They never made any albums with that lineup, and I don't know. You may find one or two performances. I mean, like they'd become a nostalgic act and stuff like that. And I think John was really struggling with. I think at that point he had been sober, but I mean, all through the '70s he was really struggling with drugs and alcohol. And the band were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1997. And John died in early 2001. So along with that happening, it'll also be 15 years since John Phillips passed away. So, and then in 2007, Denny Doherty passed away. So Michelle Phillips is the sole surviving member of the Moms and the Papas of that original lineup. I mean, the other Joe Gibson's still around, but I don't think I've ever heard her talk about the Moms and the Papas. She has a website. I think she's now an artist, and there's nothing on her site about her stint in the Moms and the Papas. So that's it, really. End on a bummer note. So, recommendations if you want to get into the Moms and the Papas, which albums to get. If you want to get them all in one shot, go get the compilation All the Leaves Are Brown. That'll give you the first four. It's up to you if you want to get People Like Us. I mean, if you want all the albums, maybe you should get it. But yeah, that's about it. So if you watch this whole video, thank you. And I'll try and upload something in the future. So thanks. Bye.